So let's talk about Borussia Dortmund, about one of the most mysterious performances of a football team I've seen.
Mysterious, and at the same time, not entirely unpredictable, nor surprising in the context of their season. But yeah, they were brilliant in the first half against FSV Mainz.
In the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, for most of the first half. They took the lead. They conceded a late equalizer, a silly equalizer to concede from a free kick. Was it a free kick? No. It was
corner.
Well, the ball came back, right? It was from
corner.
Open play, effectively, yeah. They conceded from a cross where they could have really defended much better. And in the second half, it was one of the worst games I've seen from a so-called top team in a long time. They were just as abysmal until the last 2.5 minutes of injury time. I mean, what's going on there?
Yeah. I think if we could answer this question properly, we could earn a lot of money, because I think at Borussia Dortmund a lot of people are in doubt what's really wrong. Is it the coach? Is it the composition of the squad? Is it something else? What's the explanation?
I mean, Christoph, maybe you could sign a new consultant deal in place of Matthias Sammer, if you find the answer. For Aki Watzke.
Yeah, I don't know but let's talk about it. So in the right now, everybody is discussing Edin Terzic. Is he good enough for Borussia Dortmund? Is he a kind of super fan mascot, but so limited as a coach that he is not really helping? So that's mainly the discussion right now, because he wasn't able to stabilize the team. We have praised them this season for fantastic performances, especially in the Champions League. Really, really impressive. No joke, no freak results, blah, 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 but really solid, good, solid, excellent performances. And then this, for example, this game against, especially the second half gegen Mainz that you described, and that was shocking. So what's your take? I mean, is this the coach's fault, or what's wrong there?
I don't think it's just one reason. I think it's worth making the point that their transfer policy this summer hasn't been a spectacular success. I think to phrase it in a very balanced and careful manner. They brought in a few players: Felix Metscher, Benzebaini, Füllkrug. I mean, all decent players, but the kind of players that will make a difference for a team that wants to win the league, that has aspirations to go far into the Champions League, not sure. And there are question marks about Edin Terzic. And they come from the manner of the performances, because often Dortmund look a little bit clueless on the pitch. No more so than in the second half, where you felt they had no idea what they were supposed to do. But also, when you listen to the players have been complaining. The players have been talking about the at times very defensive setup, that it doesn't work for them. And I feel that a coach who really controls the dressing room, who really, not through discipline, but through his knowledge, through the way he helps players and a team win football games, I don't think we would have this kind of noise, these kind of debates in the background. There are always individual players who are unhappy, but to see players come out and say, today we had the wrong approach, the setup was different than we expected from the other team. There's a lot of stuff going on throughout the season where they're kind of saying, or you can interpret it that way, that Edin Terzic isn't helping us enough here. We need more. And I think for a coach who is very pragmatic, who is more of a guy who solves problems, every game is a problem that needs to be solved, and you pick a formation, you pick your players, you pick a strategy, and if it doesn't work, you change it a little bit, and it all worked very beautifully until the last game of the season, the second half of the season, and perhaps there are enough people in Dortmund that still believe that with more time to kind of solve the problem, Terzic will find again the right solutions. But even if he does, I think when you're so problem orientated, when it's so much about every single game, there is a danger that the team on the whole doesn't really have a clearly defined way of playing. And maybe we sometimes read too much into that from the outside. But I think something to hold on to when things don't go for you, some kind of pattern, some kind of fixed ideas, they seem to be missing in this team.
Yeah, I agree. But on the other side, I think Terzic is facing the problem of the short blanket, because whatever he's doing, either the feet are standing out and getting cold, or the or parts of the rest of the body, and so he sometimes is trying to put it here and there, and this is all about the issue we've been talking about often, the balance between defense and offense, and yeah, maybe Borussia needs a manager that brings in mechanisms where the players can rely on in most of the games, and that are twitched, that are changed a bit from game to game. Yeah. But who could this guy be? I wonder.
So what you're saying is, and this is a reaction that's been prevalent in a lot of the analysis, or the fallout from this game, is that, yeah, Terzic might not be the right manager, but we don't know anyone else. Which is kind of the Lucien Favre complex, or the Lucien Favre syndrome, who stayed on at least 2 years too long because they couldn't find anyone. Are we heading for Lucien Favre too here?
I don't know. Maybe Ralf Hasenhüttl could be a solution. I wouldn't be surprised if they were also thinking about Urs Fischer. Although he has decided not to come back this season, but for the start of next season.
Do you think he would work at Dortmund? I mean, his ideas, would they work at Dortmund? Not him.
I mean,
personally.
Also Urs Fischer is a pragmatic man, and he is. I think he is seen very much as a defensive coach from his time with Union Berlin. But I think he played in this way because it was the best way to overcome the limitations of his squad. And if you give him a different squad with different qualities, the football would also look different. But I don't know. It's just an idea, and Ralf Hasenhüttl, I think he would provide a framework, a footballing framework, a set of ideas that would probably fit to Borussia Dortmund. And but maybe Aki Watzke, who is very close to Edin Terzic also on a personal level, will keep him. And maybe there's also a chance that they change the sporting director, Sebastian Kehl, because they're really not happy about the development of the squad. But I think most of these questions are still open right now.
Oliver Glasner is another name that's being mentioned, although he has, of course, apart from very good results, also has a history of not getting along too well with those above him. And if I think about the great need to have a harmonious setup at Borussia Dortmund, especially when it comes to Hans-Joachim Watzke and his coaches, I find it hard to believe that Oliver Glasner would be the right fit there. But in terms of football, I think it would be a very good appointment.
Yeah, I agree. But Oliver Glasner now in Germany has a kind of a bit the image of a Problembär, and that is not learning Fußball Deutsch, but the Problembär. It comes back to a story, a tabloid story about a bear in Germany that was running around and was obviously seen as a problem, and so now we have the famous or infamous Problembär.